Mine's on my phone because I finished it this morning.
Louder!
Before I start, I'd like to have Matt Harper stand up if you recognize. Harper ended up taking care of just about all of the best man duties for me. Really, the only thing I've done is show up this weekend. Without Harper, Ryan wouldn't have had a bachelor party. So when Ryan and I shotgun another beer up here after this, Harper's going to join us as the co-best man.
Yeah, baby!
Ryan has always done terrible things to me. I appreciate the laughs, but I'm well aware that many of you are pretty uncomfortable right now. Those of you that know Ryan and me pretty well are still hoping that there will be a point to this speech and that it all comes together in the end somehow. I can see the rest of you pulling your phones out just in case this thing goes off the rails so you can get the next viral YouTube video of the best man imploding and going on a drunken rant. I'm still not 100% which way this is going to go, so buckle up and keep the phones out. Ryan has always done terrible things to me. Chapter 1, The Twizzlers. In grade school, the older kids were able to get big bucks for helping out in the classroom, tidying up after school, or for putting in extra effort on homework assignments. Ryan came home one day with a giant bucket of Twizzlers, which I'm almost certain he was able to buy not by going above and beyond in the classroom, but by printing out counterfeit big bucks and passing them off as real ones. That, or he used his turn as the big bucks cashier to skim some off the top and pocket them, because I know he didn't get them by being a shining example in the classroom. Without access to the big bucks store and without any candy in our house, Mom and Dad, I asked Ryan if he would share some of his haul with me. Sure, he said, but for every one you take, I get to use it to whip you as hard as I can. Candy was hard to come by in our house, Mom and Dad. So I agreed. 12 Twizzlers later, my arm looked like it had been caught in a piece of construction machinery. I knew better than to tell Mom why my arm was covered in welts, so I went with, I did it to myself. Implicating Ryan would only result in further punishments and having my Twizzler supply cut off. Whether my mom knew that it was straight up abuse, or thought that I was some sort of budding masochist, or just kind of funny in the head, I still don't know. Chapter 2. Front yard football.
No! No! Don't. Check the 3.
At our family's first house in Ohio, we had the perfect yard for playing football after school. Some of the most fun to be had there was running plays in the front yard. Sometimes we'd be quarterback and receiver. Sometimes we'd see if we could run the ball from driveway to driveway without getting tackled. One night I put a move on Ryan and he slipped. I was finally past him. Finally going to get a touchdown. Finally going to be able to say that I pulled one over on my older brother. to say that I beat him in a sports-related activity. Ryan got up and ran after me at a speed I still haven't seen him run to this day. He grabbed me and threw me down right before the driveway. His full weight came down on my leg, and the sound it made was unlike anything I had ever heard. Something between a low-speed car accident and the loudest knuckle cracking you've ever heard. Somewhere between the tackle and Ryan going to get my mom, I had already been briefed on what my story would be. I stepped in a hole and I twisted it. We were playing two-hand touch. Ryan was.
Look at me. He started this and he goes, I don't think my parents know this. We do now.
Ryan was uninvolved. Ryan has yet to be punished, and I'm still waiting for something to happen.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3. Mac and cheese.
Chapter 4.
Anyone with an older sibling knows that being invited to hang out with them and their friends is unheard of, and an opportunity that you jump at when it presents itself. Ryan was a senior in high school when I was a freshman. We all know that getting to hang out with the seniors is the absolute pinnacle of cool for underclassmen. One night, Ryan had some of his friends over. While they were playing video games in the basement, I was putting the finishing touches on my homemade mac and cheese. So I decided to bring some down to them. Mistake. This became the expectation. Every time Ryan had his friends over, the mac and cheese would be made. I would deliver it to Ryan and his buddies downstairs. And then they would beat me up for fun.
This is a roast. This is not a best.
Joe, Danny, and Paul are laughing, and I don't know why. Whether this was just your run-of-the-mill testosterone-fueled wrestling match between Ryan and his 100-pound brother as a display of dominance for his friends, or putting me in football pads, pillows and blankets, and using me as a blocking sled, or the whole group trying to throw objects as hard as possible through my head, the weekends were always the same. Mac and cheese, hang out for a bit, beatings. We didn't even have Snapchat, so I couldn't show my friends that I was hanging out with upperclassmen. Looking back, it may not have been worth it. This is the stuff that older brothers are supposed to do. If they never picked on you, they never beat you up, you just didn't get the real older brother experience. And I feel sorry for you. You've got to be able to look back on these things and laugh about them. Even though Ryan treated me like a punching bag and a bona fide servant, he's still my best friend and the person that I can count on most to be there for me. In grade school, Ryan slipped me some of his stolen big bucks so I could impress my friends by buying candy at the end of the day. After our football incident, I couldn't go trick-or-treating because I was in a full lead cast. He stayed home with me and helped me pass out candy to the neighborhood kids. When When I was going through tough times, Ryan was always there for me with a word of advice. He taught me how to talk to girls and how to get away with things in high school. Mom and Dad, we used to hide vodka in the basement speakers. And in the ceiling. And in the legs of the table games. I'm sorry. Kacie, Ryan is your problem now. But I can honestly tell you that this man will be there for you just as much as he's been there for me. So when he forgets to do something because he was fishing or golfing, just remember that he'll make up for it down the line, and that he'll always be your best friend too. So everyone raise your drinks and let's toast to Kacie. To Kacie, who couldn't be in better hands, and to Ryan, who hasn't stopped telling me about how perfect Kacie is since they met. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Let's have some fun. Yeah.